The police state ends with me. We've made it another day. And today I'm going to give you a quick summary of what happened. And of course, again, I'll be reading notes, so I'll give you a quick overview of what happened with the police and why. And then I'll give you a huge amount of details over time and in daily videos, probably starting tomorrow. But I don't want to get bogged down in too many details to start, because I want to give you a feeling and an overview about what this is all about. Way back in 2008 and 2009, I was harassed by a female supervisor, ultimately resulting in me quitting my job just to get away from her. If you can believe it, it's true. She then called me at home and threatened me. Threats that she's made good on. Those threats she has. A lot of time has passed, so you would think it would all be over, wouldn't you? Think again. Just a little while ago, back in November 2014, I started campaigning for Bartlesville City Council, which happens to be in the same ward that this employer is. And just a few weeks later, basically right after I started campaigning for City Council, that employer put the Bartlesville police on me, so-called investigating me, apparently looking for just anything they could find. And this resulted in a huge amount of harassment, trespassing on my property, stealing my property from me by the police, which I caught them on video doing, and they stole the video, raiding my home with 5 armed-to-the-teeth police officers and the DA, blocking off the street in the neighborhood, detaining me in my driveway, tearing my house apart, making fun of me in front of my neighbors, just awful things, stealing thousands of dollars of my property out of my home, threatening me, and more, which I'll get into details later. This happened on March 6th, 2015. I noticed things disappearing at the house and trespassing, and things knocked over and the fence torn up from climbing over and things like that, starting just shortly after I started campaigning back in 2014. So you can see it's been going on 9 months or so now. I've been dealing with this. They're still threatening me with prison and holding me out to be a criminal. I was not arrested, but all this did happen. Point that out. They came over here, did all these things to me, tore my house and life apart, didn't arrest me, just harassed me and stole from me. There's much more, as a cop lives 2 doors down from me, and he was the initial one that was trespassing and stealing and damaging property. Just 2 doors down, within 15 seconds. We're sitting here right now, within 15 seconds, he could be at my door, kicking it open with a gun and killing me. Or doing again what they did before. He didn't come to the raid, so there were 6 police officers involved in this and the DA, and I'm getting off on a tangent. You can see it's very hard for me to keep my cool on this. That's why I'm reading notes. So I'll get back to my notes. Like I said, there's much more. The cop living 2 doors down from me. The whole point of this seems to be an attempt to threaten me and send me to prison for whatever they can make up, keep me from running from city council. Of course, I'm in fear for my life, and I'll give further details of that again starting tomorrow, but this was a quick summary, basically. Way back when, I was harassed and threatened by a former employer, and they've continued this harassment to today, and it's one of the largest employers in the whole world, I'll just tell you that, and they have a lot of clout and a lot of pull, and they've just got the police and the DA and the whole system on me. And to help clarify that a little bit, let me give you some of my background. Before I start beginning with the great detail tomorrow, I want to touch on a couple of other things, and one is my background. I was raised by my grandparents, and I lived all over the country, but in a few other years with other family members, but mainly my grandparents. And if you can believe it, it's true. My grandfather was actually a retired police officer. Times were different back then. He was a retired Army and retired police officer, and he was not a police officer while I was alive. He had already retired. But like I said, isn't that odd? He was a great person, and I would think he would never have behaved like these police officers have behaved. Things must have been different back then. I worked hard in school. I'm not trying to, this is not bragging, I'm not trying to blow myself up. I'm just trying to explain why something like this would be so stressful to a person, and this may give you an understanding. I worked hard in school. I gained a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. My grandfather passed away when I was 16, and he was my father. And I went on, he would have wanted me to, and I went on to do these things for me, and because he instilled, and my grandmother instilled these things in me to work hard. So I got a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, working full-time, and paid for that master's degree. I got many certificates. I became an emergency medical technician, and eventually I became board certified in healthcare management. I spent my entire life since the time I was about 12 years old working and gaining an education. I'm now 43 years old, and I've never been in trouble. I have absolutely no criminal record, no arrests, not even a speeding ticket in over 20 years. I have done nothing but exactly what the American dream says you're supposed to do. Work your tail end off, get an education, keep your nose clean, do the right things, work hard. However, my efforts to be a law-abiding citizen and do the right thing didn't stop the police state, didn't stop the Bartlesville police from tearing my home and life apart. Now for the rest of my life, there will be this on my record of them raiding my home, even though no arrest. We'll get into greater detail later. It's clear the system is not broken, meaning it can't be fixed. It is set up like this on purpose to give the police state unchecked power. You have police judgment to enforce laws. An example of this would be they can give a warning instead of a ticket if you get stopped in your car, or they can just ignore some cars speeding and pick on others. Prosecutors have prosecutorial discretion to charge people with crimes or to not, meaning a district attorney can give his friends a break but pick on the weak, poor, or people that aren't in powerful positions. They can choose who they charge. The judges are just rubber stamps for what the police want. So the police can ignore certain people and go after the ones they want, and even if they grab ones that the prosecutor doesn't want, they can just choose not to charge them, and the judges can just go right along with it. The whole system is absolutely set up. So, and you can look this up. So every year in the United States of America, approximately 40,000 new laws are brought into place. Every year. With state and federal laws, 40,000. So they've made everything you do a crime. So everything is against the law, then everyone is a criminal, but the police can choose which person they go after. So if they go after you, they can just say, oh, we're doing this because of X, Y, or Z. And so the police can choose who they go after, and the prosecutor can choose who they charge, and the judges just help the police. So they pick who they want to hurt. Simple as that. Not a broken system. A system that favors the wealthy or the well-connected, and no one else, especially minorities and the poor, can get around it. It's a for-profit system of incarcerating people. That's just a point. But in my case, it's not even a broken law. They're just harassing me based on the request of my former employer, at their behest. They don't even need a law. They can just come to your house and do this to you because they have no oversight and you have no way to stop them. The court simply rubber stamped the police, so you can't win there. You can't appeal to the judge because they just rubber stamp what the police want. You're simply under their thumb. So if you did happen to break a law, they can come after you because everything's illegal. But in my case, it's not even that. I've not been arrested or charged. They just completely tore my house apart, stole from me, threatening me. And I'm going into moving on closer to a year than I am back to zero on this. And you can see I'm getting upset. I try very hard to stay calm and collected on this, but it is devastating being treated this way. And I want to point something out. What I'm going through is awful, and it's completely unacceptable and unlivable. But I believe it's about 1%. My experience, as awful as it is about 1% of what minority folks and communities encounter from this corrupt police state. I don't know how you can stand it. I just really don't. You're tougher than me. I don't pretend that what I'm experiencing even remotely matches what minorities are going through in this police state. And I feel for you, and I'm sorry you have to experience such injustice, because even what I'm going through is too much. Tomorrow I'll start at the beginning with great detail to help you understand why I believe this will end with the Bartlesville police killing me, and why I believe that regardless of the outcome, it is the responsibility of each person to stand up for their rights and say, no more. The police state ends with me. This can't be. We can't go along with this. This can't be. With that said, I'll see you tomorrow.